I was very impressed with the dean's analysis of how one should look with empathy and look at the other side. And then I saw in the discussion of Russia absolutely the opposite. I didn't hear anybody talk about Kissinger and Kennan talking about not moving NATO 1 inch to the east. The 2014 American-sponsored coup that threw out an elected Ukraine head of government because he was too pro-Russian. The new government bombing the Russian speakers
here, right?
for 8 years. And then Ambassador, Sullivan's utter misstatement of Putin, who said that the Soviet Union, anybody that wanted it, that talked about it being collapsed, that it was a tragedy, but anybody that wanted to have it come back had no brain. Why did you not talk about any of these facts and instead of that do a lot of armchair psychologizing about Putin and his motives?
Okay, thank you very much. Who would like to respond to that?
Well, I will. First of all, I reject the premise of your question. I think you have gone into a lot of misstatements. I don't agree at all about lack of empathy and understanding. You know, both John and I have spent a lot of time with Putin trying to understand, and what we finally understood is that he wants to destroy the West and destroy the United States. And you may disagree with that. You may have a more benevolent view of what he did, invading, first of all, making up Chechen war, invading Georgia, invading Ukraine twice, threatening his neighbors, being Assad's air force. I could go on and on. So you have your view. I do not think it is the view supported by history, and certainly not the view of what we're seeing today. I would commend to you, if you're willing to read it, a recent study out of the University of Munich talking about what if Putin could win. Because there's no doubt with his latest drone activity and what he's trying to do to intimidate everybody from Poland to Romania to Denmark to Italy, he is sending a message that you had better back off from supporting Ukraine, a free and independent country that has every right to chart its own sovereign future, just like Poland did joining NATO, just like Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania did joining NATO. Putin and Russia don't have a veto over what free and independent nations can choose for themselves. It's time he understood that and got over both his history and the greater history that has kept him imprisoned and kept Russia poor, an extractive commodity market that could do so much more on behalf of its own people. So you and I have a disagreement.
And I will add only that I am so happy for the Council and for the United States of America where we can have this sort of discussion go on. There are a lot of places in the world we could not have had this sort of discussion, which is only beneficial. So thank you very much. Secretary Clinton.
I was terrified that Ukraine would fall and thrilled when I saw the resistance and the pushback. I think it was fascinating because, remember, Putin flew to Beijing the week before the invasion, and from what we know and assume, basically told Xi Jinping the same thing. I'll be in Kyiv in a week. We'll have the whole country conquered. And, that was the assessment. And I was surprised at how poorly the Russian military performed. And it just goes to show, do not politicize your military, because you get corruption, you get yes men and women, you get people who forget how to fight because they're too busy looking over their shoulder to see who's going to promote them and take care of them. And that's the story of the Russian military. The second big surprise was October 7th. And what I didn't know is what I learned from Karen, who served in the IDF, served in intelligence, and among the many lessons she had learned was what happened with the Yom Kippur War. Golda Meir's government had an agent inside Sadat's office. And that agent told the Israelis the Egyptians are going to invade. And the Israelis said, that's ridiculous. You know, they have no air force of any, no, they're not going to invade. Discounted it, underestimated, did not see the enemy as the enemy saw themselves. So with October 7th, there is no doubt that there was a massive intelligence and leadership failure in Israel. And maybe someday, if the war finally stops, we will find out what it was. And just like Golda Meir resigned 6 months after the Yom Kippur War, after that it was resolved, and was held accountable along with her military leadership, somebody needs to be held accountable in Israel as well. But that can't happen until it stops, which, is hopefully going to happen soon. So I think that in real time, those two examples, from my perspective, were very big surprises.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.